is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. I'm Josh, and in this episode, we're having a blast. We're talking news. We're diving into the NFL from this past week, commiserating over our fantasy woes. We're talking players that we're thankful for. We're even getting in a whole diatribe about Kyle Pitts.
I don't have to stare down my tight end position and be like, I got to start Kyle Pitts, right? Like, I can't start him. And it's so much of a relief, and it feels so nice to be like, there's just not the option to start Kyle Pitts. I have to start Tyler Higbee or somebody like that over him. It's so
such
relieving.
a relief. I have to start Tyler Higbee. Said nobody ever. So yeah, this episode is going to be a fun one. We dive into some players that we're thankful for, and of course, Ben gives us his weekly weenies. But before we get into all that, we'll hop into some news around the NFL and check in with Ben and see how he's doing. Seems very on brand for Aaron Rodgers to listen to a podcast on Thanksgiving and ignore all of his family members.
All right, well, he's not even with them, more than likely.
That's fair. All right, we've got a fun
Shout out
episode
to
for
Aaron
you all
Rodgers
today.
on a lonely Thanksgiving.
By himself with his crack pipe.
Oh my God. Aaron, don't do crack. That's not good.
We've got some news on this episode. We've also got, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, some players that we are thankful for this fantasy season. Maybe they've carried us in some leagues that we care about, or maybe
Just in
they've
our
just come
personal
through in
leagues.
the clutch. Yeah, they've been stalwarts for us on our fantasy teams this year, so we'll talk about them. And, of course, weekly weenies. But why don't we hop right into it, and we'll start talking.
Obviously.
Some news. A very thrilling bit right here that I am so excited to see play out. Emphasis
I don't know if it's
so
thrilling.
excited. Sam Darnold will start Sunday for the Carolina Panthers.
He's back.
Oh
It's
my God.
happening.
The circus continues. They
Thrilled.
the Panthers quarterback situation. I mean, we've been memeing Zach Wilson over the past few days I guess just in general. But the Panthers quarterback situation is maybe the worst in the NFL, and
Zach
they get to replace
it. Zach deserves what he's getting right now.
He's an idiot for sure. But
that's
the
a side
Panthers
note.
been rolling
That's a
with
different story.
Yeah, the Panthers been rolling with PJ Walker, Baker Mayfield, who's been horrendous, and now they're like, oh, well, those two stink or are hurt, and so we're gonna go with Sam Darnold, who is not any better. In fact, he's probably worse.
I said that's the worst option of all three.
They're all bad, and I do think he's the worst.
That's embarrassing. I think PJ Walker's the best of them.
I would agree.
I really do.
I feel like PJ
Baker
Walker
Mayfield is.
PJ Walker offers the most upside of the three for the offense. Maybe not individually. Baker Mayfield is just like a torpedo to the entire offense. He's terrible. And Sam Darnold is, I don't know.
We made fun of Baker so much, and it really was Nick Chubb and that offensive line that truly did just absolutely carry him for 4 years in Cleveland. And you put like Jacoby Brissett, like if Deshaun Watson wasn't coming back, like Jacoby Brissett has put in a pretty decent performance to like keep the starting job. Like that's how bad Baker Mayfield was.
Yeah, he's made Jacoby Brissett look like a completely solid, okay, average NFL starting quarterback. That's something.
Not good.
The Los Angeles Rams waived Darrell Henderson today, which means, Ben, Fill everybody in. What does this mean?
Say it together. Say it together. 3, 2, 1. Cam Akers.
Cam Akers!
It's coming. It's coming, baby. Let's go. We were calling for it beginning of the year. It turns out to be one of our biggest misses we had all season. But we're still holding on to hope. Darrell Henderson's gone. Will Kyron Williams start? Probably. But I'm hopeful for Cam Akers. I've got him in a Dynasty League. I got him for free. So, what's the worst that could happen?
That's pretty much exactly how I feel about him, right? I mean, he was very, at least in Dynasty Leagues, right? If you drafted him in redraft, you feel like an imbecile. But in Dynasty Leagues, at least in our situations, we got him off the waiver wire for nothing. So it's, there's always the chance that maybe he could turn into something and end up actually being a pretty decent fantasy asset. The problem is the offensive line is terrible. Cam Akers has shown zero flashes of being good, and so have the Rams also shown zero flashes of being good. So
he looked okay this past week. He had 12 carries, 61 yards. That's the most efficient outing I've seen from him in a long time. So it's not the worst.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the Achilles stole everything from him. I just really think the offense is terrible, and
it's a horrible situation.
It's a very bad situation. At the beginning of the season, we thought that this was a top 10 offense in the NFL, and therefore we thought this is a great situation. He's going to be a league winner just because the offense is awesome. Turns out everybody was wrong. The offense is horrendous.
I was looking at the standings in that division, and it's legitimately completely opposite from what I expected it to be. We all expected Seattle to be the worst team in the division. They're in first place. We expected, at least I thought that the Cardinals would make a pretty solid push to be the second best team in there with the 49ers. So I had them at 2, I think. They're in third place. I knew the 49ers would be good. The 49ers are always going to be a problem, just with their style of play, Shanahan, that defense. They're in second, and then the Rams are in dead last. It's insane.
Yeah. It's a complete cluster. So, yeah, the Rams waived Darrell Henderson. Honestly, you could have a situation where Henderson recoups some value for you because he's probably on your waiver wires. And depending on who picks him up, that could be potentially interesting. We obviously don't know where
his situation could improve. How about?
Yeah, so maybe
let's just throw a suggestion. Carolina. Donta Foreman. He did not have a great week this past week.
I don't know if he's any better than Deontay Foreman. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know.
I don't think he is. I think Deontay Foreman's fine.
I don't know. I was just quick racking my brain.
Yeah, maybe.
Where does he go? That's an upgrade.
The Broncos.
It just for the rest of the season?
Yeah. For Dynasty, I don't...
Is that what you're talking about, rest of the season value?
Right. Yes.
I don't know. Dynasty, I guess you hang on to him if you've got a deep enough league where he's on your bench, but...
Fair enough. Let's see here. Cowboys and Giants right now look like the favorites to land Odell Beckham Jr. I really don't think this is all that surprising, to be honest with you. I mean, Odell and the Cowboys, that just seems like it fits. They need a wide receiver. It's the Cowboys, the brand, Odell, the personality.
He's
it's sort of all
big enough
meshes.
Personality to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can be a great
He'll be
compliment,
a cancer in the locker room in a cancerous locker room.
Exactly. He fits right in there. Him and Jerry Jones, thick as thieves. The Giants, though, that one's fascinating, right? Because this is a completely different Giants team than the one that he played for several years ago. They're actually competently coached, and they're winning, and they have zero receivers, literally none.
Desperate need of a wide receiver. Desperate need.
Absolutely none. They got rid of.
I've never seen a team with more need of a wide receiver in a long time.
They have it is down to Kenny Golladay, Richie James, and Darius Slayton at wide receiver for the Giants. They are incredibly limited.
Slayton has flashed here and there, but it's never more than a game or two. And I don't know who Richie James is, and Kenny Golladay would be the wide receiver 4 at best on any other team.
At best. He's probably a wide receiver 5 on most teams. The only reason I know who he is because I took him in I think it's a 20-team fantasy league, and I picked him up in like the 38 millionth round, just like as an auto pick because I don't know who any of these guys are. And he scored a touchdown week 1, and I was like, hey, free. When you get 6 points from a guy that you didn't know existed in a 20-team league, you automatically are associated with that player for the rest of your existence. You're
when
like,
you get
that
somebody
guy
in the 15th round of a 20-team league, that's
you're scraping. I mean, you're drafting players that, like, if somebody
I drafted
told
players
you,
on the IR in that league.
you're taking players that, like
we
if
did
somebody
that draft.
told you they played Mexican football, you'd be like, yeah, sure, it makes total sense.
Who's the third wide receiver in Denver preseason? He tore his ACL. What's his name? I can't even remember.
Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick had already torn his ACL, and I drafted him in that league when we drafted.
This is a redraft league, mind you. You said
we're
taking the guaranteed zeros over these guys that are probably also guaranteed
it was like
zeros.
Guys who were. It was guys who were free agents. I'm like, okay, I'll just take Tim Patrick. Why not?
For the memes.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know which is better for Odell, to be honest with you, the Cowboys or the Giants. I feel like both are fine. I think the Giants, that has the potential for him to make a huge impact just because they are so needy at the position that he could go in there and he can give you 70 yards a game and potentially be something very, very interesting. But the Cowboys, that's probably not in the realm of possibilities.
You got a chance to go farther there.
Right. I think with the Cowboys, that's like a better real-life NFL move. I think the fantasy move is the Giants, but the
Cowboys
go
longer
could
in the
use another
playoffs
receiver.
with the Cowboys.
Absolutely. If you have 2 receivers, a good tight end, 2 running backs, that bodes well for your playoff run and your future there. So I totally get why the Cowboys really need to add him. So it'll be really interesting to see where he lands. I think I saw a story that said he is going to tour facilities after Thanksgiving. Did you,
He's
come in
all eyes are
contact
going to
with
be
a
on him for the
Dementor?
next week or so. Oh, my dog fell off the bed.
just died.
Yeah, don't worry about it. She's fine.
The moment we've all been waiting for, Kyle Pitts tore his MCL on Sunday. He's going on IR. He will be out at least 4 to 6 weeks, but most likely his season's done. He's probably going to get surgery.
Yeah.
No big change for next year, but it looks like the 2022 version of Kyle Pitts is done.
Yeah. I mean, it's been done for a few weeks.
It's been done since week 2.
I feel bad for the player, Kyle Pitts. Yeah, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I don't think that see things were improving for him. The Falcons are apparently insane because we're trying to win a Super Bowl. They said we're not going to make a quarterback change as long as we're contending. I'm like, you're 4-6. I don't care if you had the lead on the division. Your team is terrible. Marcus Mariota's terrible, but we're not gonna get rid of him for at least the rest of this year. So it's a bad situation. It's bad all around, and yeah.
Now we get to transfer all of this pent-up energy to Drake London because you would have thought that losing a player like Kyle Pitts in the offense would mean more funneled targets to Drake London. He's going to have a 45% target share every week, and he's going to end up with 4 targets every week.
Yeah, that's so bad. It's so bad.
So rip Kyle Pitts, pour one out.
Moving
but I don't
on.
think it's really hurting anybody. The Broncos
It doesn't
waived.
kill you for fantasy.
Not even a little bit. The Broncos waived Melvin Gordon today, so I guess. Okay, did you see the news story where they were talking about the reason why he got waived, and some of the rumors around why he got waived? So obviously he fumbled Sunday. It was like his 5th fumble of the year. So that, I'm sure,
Fumbling's
played
been his issue for a while.
He's fumbled a lot. That, I think, was the official reason. But the unofficial reason was that he fumbled, and then in the locker room after the game, he was blasting Future, and that was the straw, apparently, that broke the camel's back. Russ did not like him playing Future in the locker room.
Here's my next question. Why are we defending Russ?
I don't know.
Show me one thing
we're
Russell
not.
has done to deserve defense right now.
There's crickets.
I'd blast Future to try to motivate him. Something.
Make him mad, gets cut.
What have you done for? Okay. Well, they paid him too much money, so they have to kind of keep him happy now.
They kind of have to listen to him. And Melvin Gordon is, I guess, honestly, he looks a little washed, so, whatever. But he got cut.
He wasn't looking good even when he was playing.
No, he was looking like a total bum. So
No.
maybe he'll get picked up somewhere decent, but honestly, in Denver, that was his best chance to succeed. So he's probably going to be worth nothing. I guarantee you, though, the Ravens, they'll be in the mix to sign them some Melvin Gordon. They seem to have the market cornered.
You know they love a 30-something-year-old
backs.
running back.
They love those running
Give me
backs
that
well past
30-something. He's got like 1 or 2 100-yard games left in his legs, and we're going to get him.
Yep. Wan'Dale Robinson, receiver
Which I
for the
respect.
Giants. Speaking of the Giants, he tore his ACL. He's out for the year.
Earlier.
Yeah, they have nobody
This
left.
is why they need Odell.
So, yeah, they will most likely, they're in the mix for Odell now. Wan'Dale Robinson was really interesting this year, but he just never really, I don't know. He showed flashes of potentially being something for fantasy football, but he wasn't really to the point where you were starting him unless it was a very deep league. So maybe in the future he'll be really interesting, but I don't know. I'm not really 100% sold on Wan'Dale Robinson as a fantasy asset for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I don't dislike him. I like the talent, but he just doesn't profile as a dominant wide receiver, so
No, he's little. He was injured, honestly, all the time this year. Constantly, he was dealing with something. Obviously, the ACL is really, really unfortunate, but there was nagging stuff constantly. He's that small frame. He seemed to produce when he was healthy, but he just wasn't on the field a ton this year.
yeah.
In very
Moving
exciting news, the Lions have designated stud
Going from one injury
rookie.
to another.
They have designated
Well, we
Jameson
hope
Williams.
he's a stud.
We think he's a stud, right? I'm not sure, but maybe. They designated him to return
We're gonna
from
find out.
the PUP. So, but I don't know. I don't think this means that he will play Thursday. He probably plays in a week and a half, week 13. But it's great news for JMO, for the passing offense. It'll be really fun to see how good he is down the stretch because, he's obviously been nothing up until this point, but the talent's intriguing. We told a lot of people, honestly, to stash him on your IR spots and just kind of see what you've got and then cut bait if there's nothing there, but he's intriguing to say the least.
Yeah, I'm very excited. TJ Hawkinson's gone, so that should open up a lot of more opportunity than he would have had. DeAndre Swift is He's obviously still suffering from an injury just because he's not getting on the field hardly at all, which means right now it's the Amon-Ra St. Brown show, and that's been fine. Amon-Ra's been really, really good, but I am very interested to see what that tandem can look like. How does it hurt Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't know yet. I got to see it on the field first, but yeah, it's for now it's just one of those situations to watch very closely.
Finally, Justin Fields dislocated his shoulder on Sunday, and there's really no...
Give me a scare, boy.
Yeah, there's really no
It wasn't his
timetable
throwing
here.
shoulder, fortunately.
Right. But the, I guess, nebulous part of this is that the Bears don't know if his season is done or if he's going to be fine and will play again Sunday. Like, there's a wide range of outcomes with this injury right now, and we don't really know yet which one it's going to be.
We could see him again in 2023 or next week.
Yeah, and it's very possible, honestly, with the way their season's gone so far, that they just shut him down regardless. That's in there too.
Which I wouldn't. I mean, it's one of those things that wouldn't surprise me. I would hate to see it because he's really started to come into his own. So I would hate for his season to end now and lose all the momentum that he's picked up to this point, and then have to try to pick back up in the offseason. But it would make sense either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think they know what they've got with him now. I think we've seen enough flash from Justin Fields to know that he's a competent NFL quarterback. So I don't think they need to see more to know if he's going to be their guy or not. I think they know that for sure now. It's really just a matter of, can they get the rest around him up to snuff? And if he's out and they're playing God knows who as their backup, they're going to stink. And then it's just a matter of, they're basically tanking. They're trying to get a better draft pick in order to surround Fields with better players. And so I can see the argument for that. But obviously you don't want him to miss time. That goes without saying. For fantasy especially, I mean, he's been tearing it up. So fingers crossed on that. We saw a lot of people that got Justin Fields off waivers, but also had another quarterback as well, like a Kyler Murray, a Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, something like that. And they then traded the stud, the known commodity quarterback, for like a wide receiver running back.
Oof.
And now they're kind of stuck with Justin Fields as a question mark. And a great shiny running back. They might have gotten Joe Mixon or Damian Pierce or something, but now they have question marks at quarterback again.
You're back to streaming again.
Yeah,
which is never fun.
That's not a fun existence. Have fun with Jared Goff. Hey, everybody, a quick little announcement. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a couple things I want to say really, really quickly. Number one, if you enjoy the show, the absolute best way for the show to grow, for people to find out about the Fantasy Brothers, is for you to go in there to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. If you'll just drop 5 stars in there, leave a review of the show, that works so well with Apple Podcasts, and they then show the Fantasy Brothers to more people. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. It would be wonderful. And then if you're listening anywhere else, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, just rate the show. If you enjoy the show, give it 5 stars, and it will do the same thing there. Also, if you want to go further, if you really enjoy what we're doing here and you want to partner with us, go find us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Fantasy Brothers. There'll be a link to it in the description wherever you're listening or watching as well. And just hop in there, as low as $2 a month, a cup of coffee a month, as they say over here. And that just supports us and lets us know that you enjoy what we're doing and that you've had fun listening to the podcast or have learned some things, and maybe your fantasy teams are doing pretty well this year. So that's it. Leave a review, find us on Patreon, and we'll be eternally grateful. And so now, without further ado, let's hop back into the show with Ben when we're talking about players that we're thankful for this fantasy season.
The player I am the most thankful for, and this was before the season, and this is right now. It's a healthy Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is my favorite running back in football. He's explosive. He is fast. He will run over you. There's nothing about Jonathan Taylor's game I don't like. He has had an absolutely dominant snap share since returning. Even in last week's game, he didn't look quote-unquote amazing, and he still got you 14 points, like 20 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown. Awesome. I'll take that every single week. And the best part about Jonathan Taylor is we get to dunk on everyone who called us crazy for buying him low.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I'm thankful for Jonathan Taylor.
It's a fun time when Jonathan Taylor is playing well. Let's put it that way. It's, there's reasons to be thankful.
Like a mini Derrick Henry out there.
Mini? He's just...
Mini.
Well, he's like Derrick Henry.
He's not 6'4".
If he went on Weight Watchers and was a little shorter.
Yeah. It's if you, like, pound for pound, they're probably pretty even. But Jonathan Taylor's like 5'11", 220. He's not 6'4", 250.
I forget how big Derrick Henry is. Dude is...
Derrick is a monster.
They don't call him the Yeti for nothing.
He's terrifying.
My gosh. All right. The number one player that I am most thankful for, and honestly, if you've played fantasy this year, he probably is the player that you're most thankful for because he's the biggest positional advantage.
If you've had him on your team for the past
football.
5 years,
you're feeling like you're untouchable because honestly, you probably are. Travis Kelce has been nothing short of unbelievable. Like, I looked at his fantasy points. He is basically the wide receiver 2 in fantasy as a tight end. And so that's translated into he scored 79 more fantasy points than the tight end 2, which is Mark Andrews. He's averaging per week 8 more fantasy points than Mark Andrews is. And the tight end 3, we talked about this a little bit last week.
Has had a couple. Andrew's been a little banged up. Sorry, go ahead. I was interrupting.
No, you're good. He's been a little banged up. He's
but
not
still,
up
I mean,
to
I don't know.
par,
I don't know if he was healthy. He would have. But even if he was healthy, I don't think he'd be caught up with Kelce right now.
No, Mark Andrews for his career averages about 14 half PPR points per week, and Travis Kelce right now is averaging 19, I think. So he's on a different level, to say the least.
If your starting running back is doing that, you're happy with that.
Yeah, but he has literally scored 189, I think, half PPR points, and I want to say Stephon Diggs is in the 190s. So it's like it's very close to Stephon Diggs.
Right there.
Right there. So he's been unbelievable because tight ends this year, I think more than in years past, have really been bad. So if you have had anyone other than Mark Andrews or Kelce, you've been pretty much hung out to dry. There have been pop weeks here and there. But even the other guys that we consider good, like George Kittle, Darren Waller, Waller's been horrific, and George Kittle's been really hit and miss this year. So, yeah, Travis Kelce, league winner.
And we just lost Dallas Goedert. He's probably been the only other that's been like consistently like I can plug Dallas Goedert in and get 10 points on the regular.
Yeah.
And he's on the IR now, so.
And you're plugging in Kelce and literally getting double that. That just is crazy.
You're getting what your opponent's starting running back is in your tight end spot.
It's essentially, to put this in perspective, the difference between Travis Kelce and TJ Hawkinson is the difference per week between Justin Jefferson and Jacoby Myers. That is ridiculous. He is.
That's not fair.
Oh, man. That's not nice. It's just rude.
I feel like and I was probably one of those guys too in the offseason where like, how, Kelce, he's getting older. Like, how much more can he keep doing this? Like, I'm probably preferring, Mark Andrews to him. Maybe, he has completely shut that out. Like, until I physically see the decline on the field, You slap me if I ever put anyone over Travis Kelce.
Kelsey's been great. All right, enough of Kelsey. That was my soapbox moment. For you, your number 2 player you are thankful for.
I am incredibly thankful for DeAndre Hopkins coming back. And coming back and immediately being a top 10, top 5 wide receiver. Like, right away returning to form. And mainly because in one of my main dynasty leagues, I had Jamar Chase. And it's a really good team. It's a contending team. And Jamar Chase goes down. And I have DeAndre Hopkins stashed on the bench. And as soon as Chase goes down, I immediately can just flop DeAndre Hopkins right there. And there's almost no difference on the team. Like, it just kept the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's a luxury item, to say the least.
Yeah, it felt really good. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
no, you lost Jamar Chase. What am I going to do? Oh, wait. He's got
I'm
DeAndre
fine.
Hopkins waiting right there.
I'm good.
And he immediately came back, and he's averaging like 15, 17 points a week.
Yeah. There's that one league we've talked about with the median where I took Hopkins in the draft at an extremely deflated price because of the suspension. And I also took Cooper Kupp, rip, rest in peace, and Stephon Diggs. And so I got 3 weeks basically of like an unstoppable tsunami at wide receiver. And it was very fun while it lasted. Now Cooper Kupp's out, and it kind of has gone to the wayside.
You
But
scroll down through the wide receivers, 20, 20, 20, 20.
yeah, there's just something nice about going in there and starting at a start 3 wide receiver league, and they're all getting you 25 points a week. Feels real good.
I got 70 points from my wide receivers this week. What did you get?
You got guys coming in there, they're like, I felt really good. I got 35. It's like,
I'm starting Terry McLaurin and CeeDee Lamb. Like, hey, got me 30 points this week. All right. Oh, just one of his receivers got that. Wonderful.
oh man, D-Hop has been really good. The number 2 player I am most thankful for this year, and maybe because it's the narrative sort of shifted on him a little bit in the offseason, but it is Austin Eckler. I think some of this was I sort of called my shot on him. Plus, I have him in a main dynasty league as well, a competing team where I wasn't sure if I needed to move off of him in the offseason. I knew he was getting older, and I knew that the Chargers have been trying to add in another running back into that rotation for years, but it hasn't happened yet. And Austin Eckler has
They can't
been
find the one.
They cannot. Austin Eckler's been the biggest cheat code, I guess. He's not like he's the RB1 by like 2 points. So it's not just, he's not outscoring
Still
everybody
the
by
RB1.
ridiculous. Yeah, he is the RB1. Some people drafted him there off of his season last year. He was the RB2, but his continued scoring touchdowns. We were worried about the TD regression, which there's been some. I don't think he's on a 20 touchdown pace this year, but he's got 11 right now, and he has scored more touchdowns.
And we're in
over
week
the past, 11. Yeah, he's scoring once per week, so he's on a 17 tutty pace. That's still ridiculous. He scored more touchdowns than any other running back in the past, if you add up this year and last year. So that's ridiculous. And on top of that, he is on another level this year in the receiving game. He's got 15 more catches than Christian McCaffrey through 11 weeks. So he's already at 83 targets as a running back. And I think the 83 targets through 11 games would have been like the 3rd best running back in targets all of last season. I would have to get fact checked on that. But it was in that same sort of range where, like, if he had 83, that was like top 3 last year. And he's got that in 11 games. He's been great.
I do kind of expect it to temper off a little bit as Mike Williams and Keenan Allen finally get healthy. But that's not taking away from anything he's done. And, I mean, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were healthy all last year, too. So, and he still dominated. So
Yeah,
maybe
if nothing
his touchdown
else,
upside goes up even more.
that's what I'm thinking. Like he was still scoring a bunch when they were out, but he was sort of.
I think the
bolstering
targets
his
will come
floor.
down slightly.
Right, but the touchdown opportunity probably goes up because inside the 10-yard line, they're looking to get him
the
out of the
offense is
backfield.
going to score more.
Exactly, they're looking to get Austin Eckler.
It's been
the
this.
ball.
It's been this. The story all season is, and I've got Herbert across quite a few leagues actually, and every time they get in the red zone, I'm like, okay, well, Herbert's definitely not going to score because it's going to be Eckler no matter what, and it is like every single time. Herbert walks away with 13 points. They got in the red zone 3 times, and all of them went to Eckler.
Yep, on brand.
It's
Eckler.
frustrating.
Eckler's been great. You're number 3, the final guy that you are most thankful for this year.
All right. This one feels really bad. It feels like a low blow, and I apologize. But we talked about him a little bit earlier, and I truly do feel bad for the player himself. You never want to see anybody go down with an injury. But if it had to be anybody, I'm glad Kyle Pitts is on the IR for a number of reasons.
It's so bad.
He can he can get healthy, and then he can stay away from the disaster area that is Marcus Mariota. And finally, in the leagues I have him, I don't have to stare down my tight end position and be like, I got to start Kyle Pitts, right? Like I can't start him. And it's so much of a relief, and it feels so nice to be like, there's just not the option to start Kyle Pitts. I have to start Tyler Higbee or somebody like that over him. It's so
such a
relieving.
relief. I have to start Tyler Higbee. I said nobody ever.
I'm staring down Kyle Pitts and like Cole Kmet. I'm like, Cole Kmet's probably going to get me 4 points, but so is Kyle Pitts. So
Kyle Pitts could give me 80
a
yards.
It's a weight off my shoulders that I don't have to. I don't even have the option to start Kyle Pitts anymore.
Oh dear Lord.
I am very thankful for that.
Oh my God. You're not wrong because now you don't have the decision, but rest in peace, Kyle Pitts. We hope that the Atlanta Falcons decide
for a
they
healthy
enjoy
return, 'cause
passing the ball next year.
He is really one of my favorite players. I was so excited when they took him, and I really am excited for his future. He is the building piece for our future, and Arthur Smith needs to realize that.
Amen to that. I hope next year is a different story. Hopefully y'all get a quarterback. Maybe you'll go get Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody. That would be so
I would
nice.
love that.
That would be so good. Anyways, all right, the final guy that I am thankful for, and this is he's been great, but really this is context, right? In this situation, Ramondre Stevenson is one of the players that I'm incredibly thankful for. And I think the reason I'm thankful for him is not necessarily that he's the RB9 this year, that's been awesome. But really, it's in one of my main leagues, I traded for Lamar Jackson in the offseason. And as part of that deal, I got Ramondre Stevenson as a little bit of a throw-in. Obviously, he was not, the flashy asset that he is right now. Back then, it was Damian Harris was the leader of the backfield. And Ramondre was kind of the future play. It was in a couple of years, in a year, he might take over the backfield and be really cool. But he's doing it this year. And he's been averaging 16.3 PPR points per week this year. He's been awesome. And I got him as a throw-in, and I've been able to slot him in there in my running back spot. And he's been very, very good. It's been so nice. It's refreshing to have that extra running back that you didn't know you were going to have. That's just awesome.
Like somebody gets injured bye week, let's just not lose hardly any production at all and start this guy.
Basically, I've got Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley in there. And so Ramondre doesn't get started every week. But in the bye weeks, in case of injury, I don't feel that bad. Like the drop from Saquon to Ramondre is, it's like a 3-point drop per week. That's great. I feel awesome about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Those are the players we are thankful for.
Yeah,
Hit us up in the DMs on Instagram. Let us know some of the players you're thankful for. We'll probably drop like a poll or something tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day. Players you're thankful for. But let's get out of here with some weekly weenies. Ben, lead us through them.
Some players we're not thankful for,
to say the least.
Dameon Pierce, bro had 2.7 points. He's been on fire lately. And this one, like I'm not saying I expected it. I think Dameon Pierce is great. I think he would be great moving forward. But this is kind of just the risk you run with a player like Dameon Pierce, where he himself is a very good player. And the usage he gets in the offense is very good. However, he doesn't catch very many passes, if any at all. And the offense is bad. So that's just the risk you run with Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce. Is these weeks can happen when Dameon Pierce is these weeks can happen where he doesn't get much going on the ground. So if he doesn't score that week, that's kind of just it, because he's not going to catch any passes.
Yep.
I don't know if you have any more to add on Dameon Pierce.
No, I saw him get body slammed.
I'm not worried. He's still fine moving forward.
He's good. He'll be good. He'll be fine.
He got body slammed.
Yeah, did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Somebody picked him up and threw him on the ground like it was WWE.
That's a penalty.
Yes. You're right.
It is a penalty.
I know.
You know who's somebody who deserves to be body slammed is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Get this man.
Wait, hold on.
Get him off my fantasy rosters.
Say this man's name again. What was that? Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I had a mini stroke when saying his name. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There's a hyphen in between Edwards and Helaire. I'm gonna put you on the weekly weenies here in a second. I'm gonna body slam you. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 0.9 points. I think he got hurt, but I don't care. He still sucks. DJ Moore.
Fair enough.
What was that? What was that, DJ?
That was the Baker Mayfield special.
I will give DJ a pass. That's the Baker Mayfield effect. Rondale Moore. I get you got hurt, but you don't have to have negative points when you get hurt, dude. That is unacceptable. Oh God. We're gonna take a time out here and talk about this one for a minute. Zach Wilson. 5 points. I think let's pull up Zach's stats for you real quick.
I do know
Zach turned a lot of heads this week.
What was it? 9 for 22 passing on Sunday against the Patriots. I get it. It's Bill Belichick and the Patriots, but good God.
I was not surprised. I was watching NFL Countdown or whatever, before the games, and everybody was like, you talking about Zach Wilson should have a good game. Like, I think he finally gets it done. And like the whole time I was saying, no, he doesn't. He's not that great a quarterback. And like the Jets in general cannot beat the Patriots. So I expected a bad game. And then if he had a bad game, and then he took zero responsibility for it. It's not my fault.
They said, Zach, did you have a bad game? He said,
do you feel
no.
like you let the defense down? They had negative 21 passing yards in the second half. Negative. Negative. And then when he was asked, do you feel like you let the defense down? He said no.
Way to lead a locker room, bud.
Explain to me where you went wrong. You, sir, you're the quarterback of the football team. I don't care if in a loss you throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. If you lost the game, you take responsibility for it. You are the quarterback. You're the leader. Step up and do something. He's not a leader. He's soft. He is weak. And I don't want Zach Wilson on a fantasy team or my NFL team.
To
I'm
be
done with
fair,
Zach Wilson.
when he was coming into the NFL, we were split on him. I was of the opinion he was going to
I did
flame
like him.
out.
I did like him. I liked his pure just arm talent, and I got fooled by a flashy arm. He's not a good quarterback.
You saw that pro day, and just like every NFL team, you said, "Oh, he's going to be good."
I liked his
and he's not.
I liked his highlights, like the throw off platforms, like the moving around in the pocket and just hitting guys from these crazy arm angles. I'm like, it looks Patrick Mahomes-esque. Not that he would be that, but like those are the kind of plays Mahomes makes. And he's not even in the same stratosphere. He's not even the same league as Justin Fields, much less Patrick Mahomes or anybody like that. So, yeah, Zach Wilson's done. I think the Jets have even said they're not committing to him long term, so that's fun.
Yeah, a reporter asked Robert Saleh, he said, "Are you going to let us know, like, right now who's going to be the starter on Sunday?" And Robert Saleh opened his statement with, "There's been a lot going on, ... And it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, no, Zach Wilson about to get replaced.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. And moving on to my favorite player in the NFL, Josh Allen, he's had a couple bad weeks in a row, and I'm wondering if the injury is playing a bigger part than we like to, or that we think it is. But either way, he had 2 interceptions against Minnesota. He didn't have a horrible game this past week. He just didn't throw a touchdown. And
also didn't
if your
run
name is Josh
very
Allen
much.
and you're playing a game of football, yeah, he only had like 2 carries for like 8 yards. But you're Josh Allen and you're not playing in 6 feet of snow. So I expect 30 points, plain and simple. 13 is not going to cut it. So, yeah, you're on the weekly weenies, Josh, and even though I love you. Justin Jefferson, another one of my favorite players. And this is more Kirk Cousins' fault. Still, he scored like 3 points. That's just not going to get it done. We've
Nope.
Justin Jefferson is like very consistent, except for like he has 2 or 3 games a year where he scores single digits, and this is one of those games.
It's
always where just Kirk Cousins decide he wants to turn into a pumpkin.
It's never Justin Jefferson's fault. It's the offense decides to turn into a Snickers bar, and they just they're terrible.
Justin Jefferson is so good. He's one of those guys, if the game goes wrong, I ain't blaming Justin Jefferson.
No.
He did his
He's
part.
exempt. He's fine.
Yeah. But he's in the weekly weenies, and there's a parentheses that said weekly weenies Kirk Cousins. That's what it should say.
The Kirk Cousins list of weekly weenies.
Last, I guess, major name guy, A.J. Brown, really kind of did nothing. Devonta Smith was pretty good. A.J. Brown, I'm still not super worried. He and Devonta Smith are like splitting targets 50-50 right now, especially with Dallas Goedert gone. So he's going to be fine, but you had a bad week, so you make the weekly weenies.
Yep.
And one I was really surprised about was Khalil Shakir. I think he had like 1 point.
Shocker.
Which is that's crazy. I was not expecting that, honestly.
I mean, I really thought
without
Shakir
looking it up, if you can tell me,
was gonna blow up Sunday.
Right. And in the comment section, if you can actually tell me who Khalil Shakir is and who he plays for without looking it up, I will be impressed. Lastly, there's 2 guys that we have to mention on this list, and if you pay attention to the show, you should be very familiar with who they are. And number 1 is Kyle Pitts. We are going to mention him one last time. This will be the 3rd time on the episode, but one last time. He's on the Weekly Weenies. And Josh, I have a question. Do we leave him on the Weekly Weenies with him in IR, or do we finally give him a break and just take him off completely since he can't play?
Ben, you know the answer to this question. He gets the Calvin Ridley treatment.
We leave him on. He gets the Calvin Ridley treatment. Who is the final player we will be mentioning on the Weekly Weenies?
He's on there until he proves us otherwise.
He's a mainstay on the Weekly Weenies. Calvin Ridley has been just as effective for your fantasy team as we have this year. Except we actually might have been a little bit more effective because maybe we gave you some good advice.
I will say this. That pumpkin you ate or carved on Halloween and that turkey that you stuffed full of stuff and that you're eating right now, they have been just as effective for fantasy football this year as Calvin Ridley.
They have scored as many points, as many receptions, except Calvin Ridley makes a lot more money than they do.
That headless, very golden-skinned turkey. I mean, it's dead and it's very broke, but, you know.
I could throw it in my lineup and it would be just as effective.
Team, throw the turkey in your lineup.
I'd do it.
I mean, why not? It's Thanksgiving.
You know what? I have one more thing I'm thankful for. And I was just kind of looking at the NFL schedule. And so, Thanksgiving's always fun because you're with your family and you're eating a lot of food. And there's 3 NFL games on a Thursday, which is awesome. One starts at like 12:30, which is great. So it's a full day of NFL football. And Christmas is on a Sunday this year. So I went over like, okay, well, we get a full day of NFL football on Sunday. Let's see what the matchups are. And then I was so incredibly excited to see that not only that week do we have the NFL on Sunday, so we have the Thursday night game. Most of the games are on Saturday. So we have a straight-up full day of NFL football on a Saturday. Then you have 3 games on Sunday, and then there's Monday Night Football. So we get NFL football for 4 out of 5 days around Christmas time, and I could not be happier.
Wow. It's a Christmas gift. They said, let's give you football every day.
That's something to be thankful for.
Oh, that's so good. We can end the show on that. The NFL scheduling committee, whoever they are, they get to round us out with the stuff we're thankful for. That'll do it for this one, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. We hope you have a wonderful holiday with your friends and family. And we'll see you next week when we're recapping Week 12. Maybe we'll get another episode out. Who knows? We don't plan these things ahead. It's a fly by the seat of your pants podcast, and that's why you love it. So that'll do it for this one.
That's how we do it.
We'll see you later, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. If you enjoyed the episode and want to connect to us, follow us on Instagram at FantasyBrothers_ or on Twitter at FantasyBros_. If you want to support the show, you can do that at Patreon /Fantasy Brothers.